Welcome to our 4-day adventure bike ride through central New South Wales. This is Dennis on his Yamaha T7, Justin on his Husky 701, or should we say a white KTM, Benji on his KTM 890, and finally we have Aaron on the trusty old DR 650. And this is me, Dean, on the KTM 790. We met at Wollombi near Cessnock, New South Wales, and the destination on night one is Rylstone. Here we are heading through the Yengo forest via Finchley Track onto Howes Trail and Commission Road. This part of the Yengo forest is normally quite sandy. The rain had done a great job at settling the sand down, with the added bonus of no dust. Still on Howes Trail, but towards the end of it, just before you get onto Commission Road, we encountered some wet, muddy sections and a few exposed, rocky, small hill climbs. Now that we've settled into the ride, a bit more about the crew. Aaron's done a pretty good job on his DR650 considering he hasn't been on a bike for about 2 years. Dennis, better known as Kegs, loves his T7. T7, T7, T7. Can't get enough of the T7. And Benji got hit by a car a few years back, leaving his right ankle severely impaired. And Justin is secretly in love with KTMs, but he's in denial, so he bought a white KTM instead. On our way to the famous Sheepskin hut, and we came across these pretty cool sandstone caves. There's so many times on these trips when you don't have the video camera on, just when there's a bit of action. But thankfully I got this bit of action from Dano, hit a puddle and almost went into the tree. Let's watch it in slow-mo action. I love how he's heading towards the tree, so he puts the power down and accelerates out of trouble. Nice work, Dano. Arrival at the Sheepskin hut. Dennis was so excited he forgot to put his foot down. Sheepskin Hut is a well-known landmark and campground in the Wollemi National Park. It was first built in the late 1800s by drovers who grazed cattle in the area. Then it was rebuilt in the 1920s. A few photos, a quick bite to eat and a drink, and then back on the bikes. I think it's fair to say bike maintenance is not one of Aaron's strong points.
That's good. It just came out when I was riding. Oh, petrol. That's what.
We got Chief Mechanic Benji onto the job, and after a few quick mods to the fuel tap, the old DR was back up and running. Day 2 saw us head west, a bit further inland. As you can see, the wet weather that we'd encountered the previous day had been replaced by dry, dusty roads. Problem was we also had fog, so we're getting fog and dust on our visors. And the fog was quite patchy. 1 minute it was there, and the next minute it was gone. Thankfully the fog was gone when we came across these mobber kangaroos, otherwise it might have been real messy. And look at this view. Where else would you rather be? Momentarily back into the patchy fog, and somehow I managed to spot out of the corner of my eye a cow stuck in a fence. Thinking on our feet, we quickly came up with a logical way to work out who was best qualified to deal with the problem.
Who owns a Land Cruiser?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, Land Cruiser.
Okay. The glove almost went.
Great work, Justin. Problem solved. Now back on the bikes and off to the famous Bridle Track at Hill End. The Bridle Track runs for about 50 kilometres between Hill End and Bathurst. Bridle Track was built in the early 1800s, earning its name when the gold miners had to lead their horses by bridle through the narrow sections of the track. As you can see, the Bridle Track is very popular amongst adventure bike riders, four-wheel drivers and campers. Due to the high volume of traffic in both directions, care needs to be taken on the bridle track, particularly around blind corners. Of course, there's always that one idiot that has to treat it like a racetrack. One of the best things about adventure bike riding is discovering new tracks. Perhaps the highlight of the trip was finding this little road called Eskdale Road. It had just the right mix of ups, downs, some muddy sections, some rocky sections. We had an absolute ball on this road. I'd been sitting behind my good mate Dano for a little while getting some footage, and he kept splashing me. But look out, Dano, there's always payback. And here's Aaron on the mighty DR650, finding every bit of mud that he could. While the other bikes found a nice way around these big mud puddles, Aaron just went straight through them. The morning of day 3, and the white KTM had a weird problem with fuel running out of the pollution canister. We got the thumbs up from Chief Mechanic Beggie, and she was all good to go. We found another road that we'd never been on before, and with a little bit of moisture, this road was glorious. The only problem is the boys were having a bit too much fun. They forgot there might be some traffic coming from the other direction. Put your hand up if you love KTMs. Having nearly had a head-on collision with some other bike riders earlier that day, you'd think we would have learnt our lesson. I got some good footage of Justin on the white KTM, so I thought I'd go past and get some footage of Beggie. Apparently though, Justin thought it was a race, so he thought he'd take Benji and I on the next corner. Holy crap, that was close. Let's see that again in slow motion. I had to hit the brakes and swerve left. Watch out for that rock, Benji. What rock? Oh shit, that rock. Quick stop for lunch at the Settlers Arm Hotel, St Albans. And then back into the Watagan forest. As you can see, the rain had picked up again and conditions were very slippery. This is the final off-road section for our day 3 before we arrived at our accommodation in Cessnock. Due to a massive amount of rain overnight, we had to cancel our day 4 off-roading adventure. So that's the end of our central New South Wales adventure bike ride. Hope you enjoyed it. And as my good mate Peely always says, no broken bikes, no broken bones. So it was a good trip.